Welcome. I'm the DeadwoodJedi, and today I have another video on the speed tuning series. So today's video I'm actually really excited about. I think it's going to be very informative at the very least, and should be helpful for a lot of you trying to tune your clan boss teams. What we're going to talk about today is a 4-3 speed ratio. That's what I call it anyhow. Essentially what you're going to do is get your champions to move fast enough to go 4 turns for every 3 turns a clan boss takes. Not all of them, just the ones that you need to. Now, what kind of champions are those? It's basically the ones that have skills on 4-turn cooldowns, and that's a lot of these champions. So you want to maximize what they can do. This is the way to do it. So you're talking about champions like Tyrell, Jareg, you got Sepulchre Sentinel, Whirlum Frostbringer. There's a whole bunch of them that have these very impactful, important skills, but they're on 4-turn cooldowns. And so we want to try and get that so that they are using those skills every cycle, so we can get more of a regular tune for our team. So for instance, Lightsworn, for example, has a increased defense buff. Well, we want that up every cycle. We want that up for both AoEs. How do we do that? By putting them in a 4-3 speed ratio. That's how. So if we can do that successfully, we're going to have longer runs, we're going to have better runs, and we're going to put up more points on the board. And that's really what it comes down to. Another reason why you might want to do a 4-3 speed ratio if a champion doesn't have any skills that are 4 turns, you might want to do it in case they get stunned. That way their cooldowns, even though normally when you get stunned the cooldowns don't actually cool down, this would be a way to catch that up. So perfect example is Skullcrusher. Skullcrusher, one of the few counterattack champions, his counterattack ability is on a 3-turn cooldown, which is perfect unless he gets stunned, and then that would throw off his counterattack. So what you would do maybe is put him on a 4-3 cooldown. That way, even if he gets stunned, he's still going to have enough time to cool that counterattack ability down and use it at the appropriate time every single cycle. And that's kind of what you're trying to do here. The big idea is making sure you can use these skills consistently when you want to use them, as often as you want to use them. So I have 3 different runs I'm going to show you. One of them is involving 2 champions moving at a 4-3 speed ratio, so you can see that's possible and easily done. And then I also have 2 other runs, one on Nightmare and one on Ultimate Nightmare with the same composition. It's actually the team I run, just so you can see how that goes. Now, I know watching somebody else's clan boss team isn't everybody's cup of tea, so if that's not for you, totally get it. I mean, I have some pretty kick-butt music playing underneath it, so you might want to get into the groove of it all. But if that's not your thing, I get it. Just skip to the end of the video, because at the end I do have some stuff you definitely want to see. I have a variety of speeds that you can run your team at to get a 4-3 speed ratio for 1-2 champions at a time. So definitely you're going to want to stick around, stay to the end of that, because that's going to be something that you can take to make your teams better. I did a lot of that work for you. If you want to do that work yourself, or you really want to fine tune it, which I do recommend, go to my website, DeadwoodJedi.com. I have a calculator there for the clan boss, so you can actually speed tune your own team and come up with compositions I haven't even thought of yet. That's, I think, super exciting. So if you do, let me know, please. I love seeing new stuff. Clan boss is my favorite part of this game, so the more we can come up with solutions and ideas, I think the better for the whole community. Without any further ado, I've been chatting for a while. Let's go ahead. I'll show you the videos. I kind of break down where the turns come in a little bit so you can kind of see that, but I'll try to keep things moving along for you. Alright, so we're going to start this runoff here. And as you can see, we're beginning with Jareg's going the fastest at 232. Steel Skull's second fastest at 229. Those are the 2 that are going to be going on a 4-3 speed ratio. After that, I have Rosin at 178, Septimus at 174, and Valkyrie at 171. I should be popping those speeds up on the screen in just a minute here. The big key with this kind of a speed composition is both Jareg and Steel Skull are going to go on a 4-3 speed ratio. They're going to take 4 turns for every 3 turns the clan boss takes. The cycle doesn't come into fruition until the second time around. So right now they're still going on a 1-to-1 ratio, but the second time around they'll hit that 4-3 ratio. Now, with the specific speeds that I have my champions at, Jareg's going to do his 2 turns before the stun, and Steel Skull's going to do his 2 turns after the stun. And by staggering them like that, it's going to enable me to have the increased defense buff up the entire time during the fight. Now, something you might not know is obviously these buffs are prioritized a little differently for different champions. So Steel Skull is going to prioritize the increased defense buff. What that means is if Steel Skull has an increased defense buff on himself, doesn't matter if it's going to be falling off at the end of that turn, he's not going to cast it. He's not going to use that skill on auto. Just won't. You'd have to manual that. Jareg, however, prioritizes the ally protection buff, which means Jareg will use that ability even if he has an increased defense buff on himself already. Something to keep in mind. So, like, if you want to try this with, say, a Lightsworn instead of a Jareg, be aware those increased defense buff, there will be at least 1 turn gap in between the two, because they both of those champions will refuse to overlap that increased defense buff. It's a weird quirk that they have, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I kind of feel like that's an AI patch for Plarium to look at, but it's pretty minor, so I'm kind of doubtful they're going to put priority on that. But that's something just to keep in mind there. We are in that speed tune right about now, so Jareg's going to be taking his 2nd turn right now, and that's the 2nd of 2 turns right there as he puts up that increased defense and the ally protection buff. That's going to ensure that for the stun, whoever's taking the stun isn't taking the full brunt of it. He's going to share that damage with Jareg. It's going to prevent somebody getting knocked out, essentially. And now, after the stun that just happened, Steel Skull's going to take 2 turns. So he's going to, I didn't play this right, so he's going to try and put poisons up for both of these runs. I should have probably cleared Rosin and probably should have put up the increased defense there, but I had some timing off. But in any case, there you go. You saw it. That's the 4-3 run right there. That's really all there is to it. You can put any champions in this. You can finagle the other numbers of the allies to try and alter when those stuns occur. It can be pretty difficult though, but it is possible to do that as well. And so that's it. So I'm just going to let it run and speed it up a little bit, and hopefully you guys can check out the rest of the run. And that's kind of the death knell for the run, in all honesty. Once you lose one of these champions, everything else is going to fall apart. It's just a matter of time at that point. Hope you guys are enjoying the epic adventure music. I quite enjoy it sometimes. Definitely use it in some of my D&D campaigns. So the wonderful tunes of Kevin MacLeod. That said, you guys have been able to see this run go to fruition. We're well past 30 turns. Just broke 30 million damage, and it's about to fall apart here in a little bit, but all in all, a pretty successful run, I would say. Obviously, having Valkyrie is just such a gift, and she is pretty incredible. And I know I talked earlier about how all these champions are accessible. She is clearly the one that is, you have to get some RNG luck to do that. But frankly, you have to get some RNG luck to really be able to do this kind of damage anyway. You're not going to be able to do this with all rare champions, for instance. So, you know, at some point you gotta make a break with some of it. The idea is to do the best with the champions that we have. I mean, that is the whole joy of the thing. So anyway, 32 million damage nearly. not too shabby. I think that's a pretty successful run, and that's really responsible to those 4-3 speed tunes. Being able to have those champions go multiple times in a turn is the key. The next one I'm going to show you is my actual team that I usually run. It does involve Steel Skull on a 4-3 tune, and so you'll get a chance to see that. I had a little trouble with the video in the very beginning of this, but we're doing this run against Nightmare, and what that means is that the double turn for our 4-3 speed tune, in this case Steel Skull, is going to happen at a different point than it normally would. For this, it's actually going to happen just a moment here, right after that first AoE that just hit. Normally on an Ultimate Nightmare, that double turn will occur right after the stun. So it's a little bit different, but it should still give you a good idea of how it works, and also proves that this works both for Ultimate Nightmare as well as Nightmare. Same tune, and it'll still pull off just fine. Just when those double turns happen will be either a turn sooner or a turn later. So you can see we're reaching the end of this run here. We're well over 50 million damage, which for Nightmare is incredible and pretty fantastic. So once I broke that 40 million threshold for the first time, I was pretty stoked, and this squad's only doing better. Valkyrie, of course, is a beast, and this is our perfect affinity for this squad. So this last run is my normal Ultimate Nightmare clan boss team running at Ultimate Nightmare speed. It's going super fast, but I just kind of wanted to show it so you guys get a sense that it does work at this level as well. Steel Skull's 2-turn rotation is going to happen after the stun. It takes about 3 cycles to kick in. So that was my Ultimate Nightmare team. It's the same squad as I was running a Nightmare. You see the stats up on the screen right now. I'm just gonna talk while that's going on. It's pretty effective, almost 33 million. Probably on a little bit on the lower end. I have been experimenting with putting a Steel Skull in Stalwart gear. It is not going the way I'd like it to, so I'll probably switch them back to Lifesteal at some point. But till then, we're doing okay damage-wise, and you know what? Everything is just a little bit better when you have that wonderful epic music playing right underneath it. So I feel like this was a win all in all. And frankly, without this kind of a speed tune, I wouldn't be putting up this kind of damage. So if you want to do the most damage you can, you definitely need to learn this 4-3 speed tune. It's not for all the champions, but if they have a 4-turn cooldown and you want that skill happening over and over again, yes, you do need to figure out how to get them to do their 4 turns in the 3-turn cycle of the clan boss. So champions like Sepulchre Sentinel, who is a fusion, or Whirlum Frostspring, who is part of the Battle Pass, or Steel Skull, or Tayrel, or Jareg. There's plenty of others out there. Learning this speed ratio, the 4-3 speed ratio, is going to be crucial. So to help you guys with that, I've put together a few different speed ranges that you can use for a 4-3 speed ratio. And to tune your team that way. And help do a little bit of the work for you guys. Obviously, you're going to want to fine tune it for your individual team and needs. And that's pretty much going to do it for us. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you found this helpful, subscribe and let me know in the comments so that I can go ahead and make some more of these for you guys. I am going to put up my website, DeadwoodJedi.com. Visit that to check out the calculator and better tune your teams. And till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.